on, and
Okay.
actually there's a question: can you connect the problem of desire with delay and becoming? The question is, can you connect the problem of desire with delay and becoming? So about desire, I differentiate between personal and impersonal desire. There is desire that comes out of our conditioning, and our main conditioning defines us as a person, as a man or a woman with very specific conditions. And these sorts of desires are connected to the belief that I am a mortal body mind. And as soon as you believe yourself to be a mortal body mind, you're experiencing a sense of incompleteness, a sense of lack, and an unhappiness that is unbearable. And this unhappiness is sort of an impetus for us to relieve this unhappiness and to recover our freedom to be happy. Can you please make sure you have your mics shut off?
Sure.
Stan, make sure you have your mic shut off. So all desire that is rooted in the belief that I am a mortal body mind is a thought and belief and feeling structure that maintains the impression of separation, of a separate self, and that projects a happiness in time and in experiences or in objects. So desire that has this personal quality is unhappy and is seeking its ending. So the true desire is the desire for desirelessness, desire for peace, the desire for the end of desire. That is the true desire. The desire that is inspired by peace and is seeking peace is already fulfilled. As soon as it arises, it's fulfilled. So the desire for peace is already fulfilled. Whatever activities that you do take you away from the fulfillment that already is. So in a way, desiring desirelessness is a true desire, but since the desire is for desirelessness, then even the term desire does not apply. So the whole impression of becoming is a false impression, because there is no such thing as becoming. Becoming refers to A becoming B, but A cannot become B because A is already B and B is already A. So the whole notion of becoming is an imaginary notion that is based on a false assumption. The assumption being that you are a separate entity in time and space that can improve in time and space. And therefore, you are overlooking your wholeness. You are overlooking your completeness. You are overlooking your totality by adopting the belief in becoming. So best is to let go of all beliefs and simply be. Now there are thoughts and inspirations that come to you from the divine, that come to you from your freedom. They come to you from love, from your love. Such as a thought might arise for you to invite your friends over for dinner, or to go for a walk in the countryside, or to go listen to a concert or an opera, or to pick up painting, to paint or to play an instrument, to write some poetry or write a novel or whatever inspires you. There might be some inspiration that comes to you from, they don't come to you from the sense of incompleteness. They don't come to you from this me character. They come to you in the purity of being. And because they come to you from the purity of being, they are free and they're inherently happy. And you find yourself effortlessly engaging in such activities without any anticipation, without any angst, without any hope, which is very beautiful, very lovely. I hope what I said is clear enough, but if it's not, please don't hesitate to ask further questions. There is a question that I wanted to answer. It was emailed to me. Oh, I'm sorry, before I go, I could see that Seeker Sort is saying already fulfilled is nice, but the idea of feeling that something needs to be done persists. Is anything to be done, such as participating in this hangout? No, nothing needs to be done. You can participate in this hangout or not. You can participate in this hangout out of celebration, out of contemplation, out of exploration, out of your freedom and out of your love. But if you participate in this hangout or you participate in anything out of a sense of lack, then I encourage you to examine this sense of lack and not to feed it. There is nothing lacking. You are not some lacking entity. That's just a story that you have bought into, but you don't need to buy into it. So you can participate in a hangout, because in a hangout, meaning in satsang, you are in a place of peace and beauty and love, and that's very beautiful. It's like you participate in going to sleep at night. You don't have to participate in going to sleep at night, but you do because it's a place of beauty, love, and peace, and the body loves it, to get some rest. So, to answer your question, no, there is no need for anything to be done. And if the feeling that something needs to be done is persisting, then you need to pause. You need to stop and examine the following. Who is it that is lacking anything? Because if there is a feeling that something is lacking, and then you need to engage into a certain activity, it's in order to bring happiness, I guess, to somebody. Who is that someone that is lacking happiness, that is lacking anything? You need to contemplate that question. You will find that this one that is lacking freedom, happiness, and peace is a belief structure, is a belief system, and that you believe yourself to be. As soon as you believe yourself to be an incomplete character, meaning a person, because a person is a limited consciousness. As soon as you believe yourself to be a limited consciousness, you are unhappy. So you need to examine that belief and not try to give vitamins or remedies to that belief. You need to examine that belief. The belief that you are a person, that you are born, that you are a man or a woman, that you're a mother or a father or a son. You need to examine those beliefs. Because what you are is none of that. What you are cannot be perceived by the mind. Because what you are is what perceives the mind, what perceives forms, what perceives objects, what perceives thoughts, what perceives sensation. And what perceives is not perceived. What perceives is beingness, is what you are. You need to go directly to what you are, not what is perceived. Recognize what you are, recognize the perceiver, recognize yourself, recognize that speaks these words, that hears these words. You need to recognize that and not identify with anything that appears. Whatever appears disappears. It arises and dissolves. But what you are is beyond any arising and any dissolution. You need to contemplate that does not come and go. Yes? Only in this contemplation, in such a contemplation, can the belief system, the belief structure that you are a form, that you are an object, that you are a body-mind, will dissolve in your understanding. You're welcome. Isaac. Yes. Yes, Isaac says, you said it is a direct revelation. I am consciousness, and this consciousness is not personal. Please comment a little more, because I think I need to understand it before everything else. Yes, Isaac. Before being a man, before being born, before any thought arises, before any sensation or any perception arises. You are. You need to go directly right now to that hears these words without labeling that. The true reality that hears these words. You need to go to that. It is right here, right now. There is a hearing of these words. Go to that without labeling that a man or a woman or tall or short or intelligent, or without labeling. Go to the source. Don't go forward. Go backward. Go to yourself. Don't go to what you are perceiving. Go to the perceiving itself. Go to the perceiver itself. It is you that perceives these words. The true perceiver is what I refer to as consciousness. Consciousness is the true perceiver. Awareness, consciousness, presence. You can use a variety of terms to refer to that. That is the unchanging, the changeless presence, irrespective of whatever you are perceiving, Isaac, irrespective of whatever is appearing, irrespective of whatever thought or no thought, bodily sensation, no matter what appears on the screen, you, that perceives, is unchanged, untouched and unmoved, untainted and unstained by whatever appears. You follow? That is what I refer to as consciousness. Like the mirror that reflects the images. The images are the thoughts, the sensations, and the perceptions. The mirror is consciousness. Whatever appears on the screen is perceived by consciousness, is known by consciousness. Like, for example, this image right now is known by you consciousness. But the image that appears does not know you. It is you that knows the image, that perceives the image. But the image does not perceive you. You see, I refer to the mind as whatever is perceived, meaning the mind is made out of images, thoughts, sensations. The images and the thoughts and the sensations are known by you. They do not know you. So the mind is known, but the mind does not know you. So your question that I am consciousness and is not personal. So first is to understand and to experience that in fact it is I as consciousness that perceives. Once you have understood that, then the next step is to realize that this consciousness is not contained in any container. It does not have any phenomenal qualities. For example, you could put a pair of shoes in a shoebox. The shoes are contained in the shoebox. And the shoes are a specific phenomenal object, a form, that have a certain size, a certain weight, a certain dimension, and the box is larger than the shoes, and you can put the shoes in the shoebox. But consciousness, meaning that truly perceives this perception, does not have a size. It does not have a weight, does not have a mass, does not start anywhere and end anywhere, is not 20 meters long or 20 feet long, or it does not originate in the west and finish in the east. It is not like that, Isaac. When you examine consciousness, you will find that consciousness is formless, but yet it is very real. It is not an object. We imagine that objects are real, but the fact it is the other way around. It is not the objects that are real. It is that knows the object that is real. It is awareness, consciousness that is real. Because an object, Isaac, appears and disappears. Like in your night dream, certain images or certain experiences appear and disappear. But you do not appear or disappear. You are the eternal sleeper, or in sleep you're sleeping. When you wake up, you are the dreamer of the dream. This is just a metaphor. So it is not the object that is real. It is consciousness that is real. But this reality is formless, meaning it is not bound by form, meaning it is completely free of the limitations of form. But form is not free of consciousness, because form has no reality outside of consciousness. Everything that you know, all forms that you perceive, and by forms I refer to thoughts, sensations, bodily sensations or perceptions, all forms are known via consciousness. Like the birds singing right now, you know them, consciousness knows them. It's via consciousness that the bird song is known. And yet this consciousness that knows phenomena is formless, limitless. It has no viscosity, it has no density, it has no weight, it has no mass. It is free of such limitations, which is very beautiful. You are this consciousness. It is the impression that this consciousness is limited to a body-mind that is referred to as the virus of mortality, that also is referred to as ignorance and suffering and misery. But you cannot truly limit the limitless. How could you? How could you bind freedom? How could you bind the formless into any form? You couldn't really, which is very lovely. So the revelation of the inherent freedom of our true nature, the revelation of the inherent freedom and joy and peace and happiness of consciousness of what I am, is not something that you, a supposed body-mind, have to earn. The body-mind is just an appearance in the eternity, infinity, and majesty of consciousness. That's where the beauty lies. It does not lie in a limited experience or in a limited form. It lies in itself. Freedom revels in itself. It does not need a crutch. Freedom does not need anything. Peace, beauty, happiness does not need anything. It is this imagined incomplete self, incomplete me, just some illusory impression that is believed to be what I am, that we imagine that I am lacking happiness, or I am lacking experiences, or I'm lacking a partner, or I'm lacking this, or I'm lacking a home, or I'm lacking a job, or I'm like, it's a viral infection which is already established as soon as you imagine yourself, as soon as you believe yourself to be a man, to be a mortal body-mind, to be born. All appearances arise to you and dissolve to you. They arise out of you and dissolve in you. Like your dream, like your night dream. All impressions in your night dream, they arise out of you and they are made out of you. But you are completely free of them. It doesn't matter if you are dreaming of walking, in a beautiful garden, or swimming in an ocean, or having a nice dinner with friends. It does not matter what the dream is. You are completely free. You are complete freedom. So the spiritual exploration is first to realize that I am not a mortal body-mind, that I am consciousness. The true I, the true self, what truly hears these words is consciousness. And the second exploration and contemplation is to realize that this consciousness is not contained, is inherent freedom, and does not need, is not in the need or lack business. It's already inherently free. And freedom means happiness, joy, bliss, peace. Okay, Isaac?
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you. Very beautiful to see you. Very lovely.
Same for you.
Sure.
Magdi?
Yes, Ananda. A secret thought. I'll come to
go ahead.
to your comment in just a minute. Yes, sure. Ananda.
Well, this was just something coming up while I listened to this last conversation, and that is, I'm so aware of a tendency to imagine my true self, nature, consciousness, as you've been describing it, imagining that almost like a special moment will come when, like when you get to the theater, you watch the movie, or when such and such, when circumstances are just right, then an experience occurs.
Yes.
And so I'm aware of myself having a magical thinking imagination that the consciousness is objective. I'm just aware of that. And so how to it seems like just some kind of simple thing is just out of grasp, that it's just to settle back into.
Yeah. You know, such a thought is already inspired, or it's arising from the belief that I am a limited entity, that I am some mortal body mind object. So already you are starting from the infection, you are starting from the imagined entity you imagine yourself to be, and then this imagined entity dreams of an oasis, dreams of nirvana, dreams of heaven, dreams of some experience that will free me, that will give me the peace and the happiness. But you, all along, every thought that's arising out of this impression that I am in me is just maintaining this me. I need this, I need that, I am lacking this, or if I get that, I get it next year, tomorrow, if I go to satsang, if I read this book, if I spend some more time with Ramana Maharshi, if I listen to go to this retreat, listen to. So it's already whatever is arising from this impression, this belief that I am a me, that I am Ananda, that I am this person, I'm a spiritual person, or I am a man, or I am a father, or I am whatever I am, this me thing, this objectified sense of me. As soon as you start from that and you're imagining what needs to happen, it needs to happen for me, to free me, but it's still maintaining the me. You say it's a feeding mechanism that just is maintaining the impression of separation, the impression that indeed what I am is this limited entity, is this character, is this person in time and space. Yes?
Yes.
Right. Yes. So you need to examine that belief system at the source. You have to go to this. You have to journey not out to what are the magical things that need to happen to you. You need to journey back to what is this me, what is this conversation here? What is it? Where is it? What is it made of? What is its shape? What is its size? What does it look like? What does show me? Where are you sitting? Where are you moving? Where are you going? Where are you turning? You need to go to that. Notice the movement of that. What is it made of? What makes it? What builds it? What are the pieces of the puzzle that maintain it? You see, you become so familiar with that mechanism, that repetitive automaticity, that just believe me, I am you, believe me, I am you, this body, I am you, this person, I am this specific entity, this mechanistic repetitive pattern, you see? See, so you have to go there and then ask yourself, what is it that is looking at that?
Yes. Yes, so the emphasis goes off of the content of what is seen by looking at this process of imagining a me impression, and then what's seeing that?
Yes. What is it that is seeing that? It is I.
Yeah. Okay.
I see that. But what is this I? That is a reality. Right now, a reality that perceives this. But this reality is not an object, but yet it is real, you see? It's difficult from the mind's perspective to hear that, because from the mind perspective, a reality is mistaken to be a form. Like a tree is real, a wall is real, a tree is real. That's from the mind's perspective. It gives reality to what is perceived and overlooks the reality of the perceiver. It's like looking at the moonshine and giving reality to the light that's shining from the moon and overlooking the light of the sun. You see?
I just noticed I wasn't breathing for some reason.
You see, it is consciousness that comes to the reality of consciousness.
Yes.
Not the mind that comes to the reality of consciousness. It is consciousness that comes to the reality of consciousness. It's a direct revelation. Consciousness knowing itself. It is itself. It is being itself. It is through beingness that knowingness knows itself. Knowingness knows itself as beingness. It's an open stillness. It's the silent mind that hears itself and hears everything else. So it's a recognition of consciousness recognizing itself as the reality of all experiences and the reality that lies beyond all experiences, like the wide open sky is the reality of all clouds, but yet it lies beyond clouds, clouds or no clouds. It is the wide open sky of presence, of consciousness, of awareness.
Excuse me, I'm just having to plug in a power source here. Yes, well, this is beautiful, and this is all I can really say is this is satsang, and this is what I have no words really for, except you did address it quite well. It's that idea that it's that vague idea that it's still something objective to be waited for, and that's not it.
Right.
And as you said, that's coming from a wrong perspective to begin with.
Yeah. Yes. Objects are mind impressions. But what is it that knows the mind? What is it that knows all impressions? So that's the contemplation, Ananda, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm turning my attention to the comment that in the chat box that Seekers Sought wrote, there is a feeling or memory that the oneness of consciousness is or was clearer in very early childhood. Any comments? You know, when you wake up early in the morning, before the world gets downloaded in all its busyness, and before thoughts, you know, in the mind gets downloaded in all their activities about work and this and that and what I should do and what I should have done, and before the body arises in its full sensory, in its full sensations, there is a quietness. There's a more quiet. Yes? So this quietness is still at the mind level. It is not the recognition of consciousness. Like when during the day, sometimes you have some free time and you relax during the day and you let yourself go, your mind relaxes, the body relaxes, maybe you take a little nap. That is still at the mind level. So it is a quieter mind, a quieter body, but it's not to be confused with consciousness knowing itself. So as a young child, the world, body, mind are still being downloaded, meaning the full spectrum of thought and occupations and worrying about your mortgage and paying the bills and your schedule and your work, your partner, and before your body gets more complex and more awareness of your body and all what's happening in your body, in your childhood, the world, body, mind is still simpler. It's simpler than as an adult, but it's still a mind situation. It is not to be confused with the revelation of the self, with knowing yourself, with the peace and happiness and tranquility and imperturbability that comes with self-knowledge, with knowing yourself, with consciousness knowing itself. Consciousness knowing itself is a totally different dimension that goes beyond the mind, which is really beautiful because the mind is a limited field, while consciousness is the limitless. So consciousness knowing itself is a dive into infinity. It's a dive into the limitlessness, into the borderless and eternal self, eternal presence. So it's not to be confused with a different mind state, such as the childlike state and the more complex adult state. Having said that, in the child mind, at that level, there is more of a resemblance of the experience of the jnani, of the sage. The experience of the sage is less complicated, the body is more transparent, the mind is clear, there are no colliding objects. But there is a quality that is a core, essential quality, which is the knowingness of oneself, sort of an awareness of your untouchability, and the perfume of that, the joy of that, the peace of that cannot be put in words. anyways, I hope I answered your question to a certain extent.
If Magdi, if you're available for another question, this is Ananda.
Yes, Ananda.
I'm just. It's been coming to me as I watch you sitting there. A curiosity as to how you see the objective. I don't even know if that's the right word for it. How you see the realm we call the world, this dream as you see it. Maybe by contrasting it to how you saw it before, when there were more colliding objects in your space.
Well, So, you know, let's say that you are learning how to dive, and you are taught, you bend your knees, you put your hands like this, your elbows like that, you bend, and you go in the water this way, and so you practice that, and you sort of, you're trying to get it right, to get the form right, and you can feel that it's still, there is a hesitation, and you practice it over and over and over and over, and you're becoming a little bit more familiar. You're improving your, and then you see like one of those professional divers. They just do the angel dive, and you could see like every inch, every part of their body, every second. They're flying, and they go in the water like, it's it's an effortless. There is an effortlessness, and also, above all, there is a peace that is untouched and unperturbed peace, and there is a joy in the recognition of the self, and it's like the joy of giving, but like selfless giving, when you give, and you really you just sort of, it's a complete, like when you're so selflessly giving that there isn't an iota of anything that you want. Not an iota, not even, you don't even want to know that you gave. You know, at the same time, you know, there is a great sensitivity and sort of a heightened sensitivity to the field, to the space, and the sensing is beyond the senses. It's a sensitivity that goes beyond the senses, beyond the limitation of the senses. It's like the ocean sensing the wave that's occurring in the Indian Ocean, and at the same time sensing the wave that's occurring in the Sea of China simultaneously. So, and there is an understanding that it's all interconnected and that all is well and fine, and it's all speaking and it's all expressing consciousness. So there are no problems. It's an absence of something that needs to be repaired. At the same time, of course, there is an immediate intelligence to when a child falls down, you help them stand up and you console them, but that's there is also that it's not there is a presence, a simple, clear presence that is innocent, that has no personal intention or personal agenda. So it is really love. It is the experience of love. Of course, love is not wanting anything, because if love is wanting anything, it's wanting, it's desiring, it's not love. Love is not desire. Oh. And in your night dreams, there is an absence of issues. There's an absence of problems for anybody. The dreams are more like images that flash, and there are no issues in your waking state or in your dream state, your night dream state. So the waking dream and the night dream are one movement. Movement. And at the same time, there is a marveling at the synchronicity and the magical quality of how consciousness unfolds in a dream state, how it's all interconnected. But think of something and you find an event occurring that resonates with what you were just thinking. There isn't a separate thought from consciousness, or a separate thought from the dream. The dream is all revealed to you, and there are synchronistic evidence, let's say, of the wholeness and universality of consciousness. But it's just amusing. There isn't any pursuit of that or an interest in cultivating that. It's just noticed, that's all.
Does it seem more transparent in a certain way, even the visual field?
The transparency is not just visual, it's a the whole field is transparent. The body, above all, the sense of physicality, that expands into infinity. So the body is the universe. So it's as if like there is no limited body. So the body becomes infinite and transparent. Meaning like the sense of boundary and the sense of density are not present.
Even if a massage would be a very good idea because of too much tennis.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's a whole different dimension of seeing through all of it.
Absolutely. So, there is hunger and then eating, or thirst and drinking, or needing rest and resting. But it doesn't relate to you. It relates to the body. But you are not the body. So like this, for example, this perception does not pertain to you. It appears to you, but you're not affected by this perception. Except if you imagine yourself to be affected by this perception, then you say, yes, I am affected by this perception. But in fact, you're not. You're beyond this perception. You're dreaming this perception. So imagine this is a dream. Imagine that now you're dreaming. You're sleeping, and it's a night dream conversation that you're having.
Yes.
But you are actually in bed right now. Yes. So there is this conversation going on, and you're now, you're sleeping on your side. Yes, and your breathing is nice and quiet and deep, and you're having this conversation in your dream. So this perception, this conversation, does not pertain to you. A second later, you're having a different perception. You're looking at a different, or it comes back. You know what I mean?
The same awareness, the same consciousness is there without a break.
It's untouched. It's untouched, unaffected, untainted by whatever is appearing on the screen. You have to look directly at what looks. You have to go directly to the looker, or the looking, and notice that the looking is beyond the looked, the perceived. The perceiver perceives the perceived, but is completely free of the perceived. Your freedom is untouched by whatever image is appearing on the screen, you see?
I'm here at my parents' house in Texas, and they're in their 90s, still very active. They're in the other room, and it just occurred to me, it just came to me that they are not separate, like they're not other, that they're out there.
Well, they're appearing to you right now as thought or image or memory, or
there's there's the whole life history. There's the room I'm in.
Well, where is the life history right now? It's appearing as a thought, as
yes.
And where is that thought?
It's very in the present. I don't know exactly where to say
well,
it.
Find out where it is. What do you mean you don't know?
Well, I mean, it's right here. It's no, and now it's gone. It was gone for a moment because I stopped thinking it.
I know, but I mean, let's go back in a way to the thought.
Yes.
Or to this perception. I mean, it doesn't have to be a thought. Where is it?
Non-localized, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Yes, I can't
when you look at these questions here, you come to the stillness.
Mm. And the transparency of the thought and the
you come to the stillness. You come to the reality of presence. And the mind comes to the stillness, comes to God. It comes to not knowing. It comes to its ending.
So the psychological the psychological talk within, so to speak, is that even I have. It's really pretty mind-blowing to me. Even the idea I have parents is an identification that's being imagined.
Yes. The identification starts with I am a person.
Mm-hmm.
I am born, and born to Papa and Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is identification. Because you're not born. You're never born.
Mm-hmm.
You could say a body is born. You could say a body is born, but in your experience, because you have to go to your experience, otherwise you can buy any goods that anybody sells. I shine the goods, I shine them and polish them, and I sell them to you. So you're buying the most polished goods that you could buy. But I'm saying don't buy any goods.
Wow, no matter what.
No, don't buy any goods. Go directly to your experience. Don't
some
buy.
things are so archetypally attractive or something, archetypally potent. But I see that's not where the freedom is in buying the beautifully archetypal expressions of love.
Don't buy any goods. You see, if something resonates within you, that means it's resonating with an internal truth of yours.
Mm-hmm.
That's different from buying a polished goods. You have to go directly to your experience. What do you know about birth outside of hearsay stories or perceiving a birth of a child? But what do you know at that moment? Let's say you are there in the delivery room and you're seeing the baby being born.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know of that? All you know
perception
is the stillness of presence. You have to contemplate, because the mind is full of stuff, of stories.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say, what is the reality of this moment? What is it? What am I witnessing? The mind will say, oh, you're witnessing, a person being born.
Yes.
But you have to pose the question differently. Not what is the mind going to tell me is happening, but what is truly happening. What you will notice if you contemplate that question, and I invite you to contemplate it later, we don't have to do it now, that you will find that what was truly happening was consciousness. There was awareness and consciousness. There was experiencing itself as this baby's head coming out, and this magical, like when the wind blows and the leaves move,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're so used to it. Oh, you know, yeah, you know. But no, it's, if you look at it with with a real looking, it's quite magical.
Yeah.
If you look at anything, like looking at this right now, it's mind blowing. The colors, the shapes, the forms, hearing. Can you imagine? He's speaking, hearing, understanding. I mean, if you just stop and think for a second about this, it's mind blowing. And it's you could call it a birth if you want to. You could call this a birth.
As something is appearing, it's a birth. I mean, it's appearing. The appearingness in the moment is a birth.
You could call it a birth. But you see, it's really important for you to realize that when you're referring to a birth right now, you're referring to an image on the screen. But consciousness is unborn and undying. Let's say this image disappears or changes. Here it just changed right now. Now consciousness, meaning you, have you changed? The perception that appears in front of you has changed. But you, that now is perceiving a different image, you have not changed. You see?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, that was good.
Right, it's important to realize that what we refer to as birth and death, we're referring at images on the screen. But not to I, not to the self with a capital S. Yes?
Yes. I had some time. I spent some time with Douglas Harding way back, and it reminds me of what you just did with the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
There was a question, but maybe next week I'll answer this question. So I'm just going to bid you good night. Thank you for your lovely company. And we'll see you next week. Be well.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Okay, see you, Isaac. Bye, everybody.